the Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Wanted to come on here on this Sunday night and, of course, talk some sports. If you come on here live, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, give the video a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. Today we're going to be talking some NFL, talking some college football, but I want to start in the world of the NBA, and I'll tell you why I'm starting there. We know that, hey there, Marcus, glad to have you here, man. As always, I'm doing great. We know that Major League Baseball has made some changes the last couple of years as far as the way the game is played. The way baseball is played, you really can't change a whole lot, and that's why I love baseball so much. You can't really change it fundamentally, but they've changed a little bit to try to make the game faster because some fans said, hey, baseball takes too long, even though baseball games are shorter than football games. And the changes they've made have helped the sport because the TV ratings are going up. And that's good because I love baseball. And you really can't talk about the NFL because the NFL could make the NFL flag football league and take away all field goals and all extra points. And all you have is end zones and make everybody run backwards and people still watch it. The NFL can do anything they want to and people still watch. But the NBA needs to change something because the NBA's TV ratings are down. And I'm curious if you're a basketball fan, if you have any ideas or thoughts or suggestions on why you think their ratings might be down. Hey there, Lacey. Glad to have you here on this Sunday night. And hey there, Nubia. Glad to have you here as well. I think there's two main reasons for the NBA ratings being down. And that is, one, I think LeBron James has destroyed the game for superstars, and that has destroyed the game for the fans. And what I mean by that is, back in the day when you had Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman and David Robinson and Tim Duncan and Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing and John Starks and John Stockton and Karl Malone and all those guys, they were superstars, but they were expected to play every single game. If they weren't hurt, they played. And you couldn't just be, hey, I'm hurt because my elbow's hurt. You had to have a legitimate injury. And if you didn't have one, you played. And the fans enjoyed going to the games because you knew that there's a 99% chance whatever superstar you're going to watch is going to play. And Devin or Devon, ever how your name is pronounced, if you're talking about the NBA, my favorite team is the New Orleans Pelicans, which is why I don't talk about them much because they suck. They pretty much always sucked. And the way it's going, they're always going to suck, but I'll always be a fan. So in the world of the NBA, my favorite team is the New Orleans Pelicans. But back in the day, the superstars were expected to play. So fans bought tickets because they knew the guy they wanted to go see was going to play. Well, LeBron James comes along, and now he's got it to where superstars can play 60 games a year, 65 maybe, and nothing gets said. You can pretty much play two-thirds of the season and miss a third of it, and you're still a superstar. You don't play, no big deal. You want to sit out, no big deal. They don't play on the second night of back-to-backs. They don't play in an afternoon game following a night game. And now they just sit out and rest for no reason. Michael Jordan had one of the best quotes Democrats and Republicans both buy my shoes. They need to keep their identity politics out of the game. I agree, John. That's why I don't talk politics at all. Hey there, big bad Brando. Glad to have you here. Speaking of superstars, hey there, Rowan Newfeld. Shout out. And you subbed. Appreciate that, Rowan. I appreciate that. But back in the day, all the superstars played. And nowadays, you have fans that don't want to go to games because, you might buy a ticket to a game and you're going to watch a certain player, and then when it comes time for the game, you find out, oh crap, he ain't playing. And then you feel like, you're irritated, you're mad because you lost your money. If you turn the game on TV and you're at home and you're watching the game because you've got one superstar from both teams, and then it comes game time and neither guy's playing, more than likely you're not going to watch the game. So I think that's one thing that's hurt it. The other thing is Stephen Curry has pretty much taken any kind of talent out of basketball. It used to be guys played defense. When teams had the ball in basketball and offense, they passed the ball around the perimeter. You saw guys going inside. You saw hook shots. And now half the guys don't play defense anymore. I mean, Luka Doncic is a liability on defense. He just stands there. He don't even attempt to play defense. And for a long time, I always said that James Harden's name was James Harden because there was no D in Harden. He just stood there. And I forget what game it was, but I watched a game on ESPN the opening week of the NBA season. And the two teams I was watching, one team made a shot. They passed the ball inbounds, threw one pass up court, shot a three. It was missed. The other team got the rebound, threw one pass up court, shot a three, missed. The other team got it, threw the ball up court, shot a three, missed. I seen 6 threes attempted in 45 seconds. I mean, there was no dribbling, there was no defense, there was no passing. It was just chucking up threes. But Stephen Curry is so good at shooting threes, he's made almost every other player think, well, if I can shoot threes, I can play the game. Now there's no talent in basketball. Guys just stand behind 3-point line and shoot threes. And I don't really know what you can do about it because you can't tell teams they can't shoot threes, and you can't tell teams, hey, you can only shoot so many threes. But you've got to do something because you have taken all the talent out of the game. Now you just stand there and shoot threes. And the regular season's so long and so many teams make the playoffs. Now there's no point in watching the regular season because come April, over half the league is in the playoffs anyway. And in the regular season, guys just don't even attempt to play defense. They don't attempt to have no talent. They just stand around, get the ball, and shoot threes. And it's just not fun. So those are my two reasons for thinking that the NBA ratings are down. I'd love to have your thoughts on that. And speaking of Big Bad Brando, last night I was at 244 Livestock Road, East Denali, Georgia for SWA Wrestling. And I'll be back there again this upcoming Saturday. Doors will open at 6 o'clock. Bell time will be 7 o'clock. And again, the address is 244 Livestock Road, East Denali, Georgia. It'll be a benefit show. So if you're in North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, or the upstate of South Carolina, I'd love to see you Saturday night in East Denali, Georgia. Your Highness, glad to have you here. American government, glad to have you here on this Sunday night. And you're talking about cheese. I'm a big cheese fan. I can sit around and eat cheese out of the bag. Of course, that's not very healthy for you, but I've always been a big fan of American cheese, Parmesan cheese. It doesn't matter. I just love cheese. But on to the National Football League. Of course, we still have the one game going on right now and one game tomorrow night. But outside of that, everybody else has either played 9 games or 10 games, depending on whether or not you've had your bye week yet or not. Hey there, Crystal. Glad to have you here. And life is always absolutely fantastic. Life is what we make of it. I choose to make it a great life. That's just me personally. But 9 or 10 games is basically halfway. Now that they play 17 games, there's really no such thing as a legit halfway, so 9 or 10 games is about as close as you can get. And I know right now the Chiefs are undefeated, but I would say right now the best team in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. They're playing right now as we speak. And hey there, Pink, glad to have you here as well. But today we had the Panthers getting their third win of the season. They defeated the Giants 20-17. Thursday night we had the Ravens beating the Bengals 35-34, and it shows you how fans are never happy and they just love to talk. Last weekend the Bucks had a game and their coach decided not to go for two late in the game, and all you heard about was how that was a terrible idea, go for two. Well, Thursday night, the Bengals coach decided to go for two, and all you heard about was, that's a stupid idea. Don't go for two. Kick the extra point. And no, Pink, I do not speak Korean, but thank you for asking. And Crystal said she just played her first clarinet solo today. Well, congratulations, Crystal. Wish I could say I could play it, and I could say that, but I'd be lying to you. So one coach goes for it, and he's stupid. One coach doesn't go for it, and he's stupid. The Patriots, they beat the Bears 19-3. The Bears looked like for a while they were going to contend for a wild card spot, and they still might, but they've now lost a few games in a row. They had that lead on the Commanders and blew that game from one player being stupid, and they have not looked the same since then. Pink says they love the U.S. Appreciate that. Right now I'm talking about the NFL, but I just got done talking about basketball, and coming up we're going to talk some college football. I'm all over the place, SW, but thank you for asking. So the Bears have now fell below 500. The 49ers finally get Christian McCaffrey back, and they defeat the Bucks 23-20. No, it is not like cricket. The Chiefs get another lucky win. They've been lucky quite a few times this year. They defeat the Broncos 16-14. The Chiefs blocked a field goal as time expired. The Broncos lined up for a field goal, so now we'll never know whether or not it would have been good because they blocked it. Hey there, Raju. Glad to have you here as well. And I've never seen tennis played on grass. Sounds very entertaining. No. The Bills, they win again. They defeat the Colts 30-20. The Vikings, in an ugly game, they defeat the Jaguars 12-7. They better be lucky that the Jaguars are just not any good, because Sam Darnold reverted to the old Sam Darnold and tried his best to give that game away. His overall numbers weren't bad, but he did throw 3 interceptions. Have I ever Morris danced? I'm not sure what that is. Hey, Tyler, glad to have you here. You're a Tennessee man. Well, that's good. No matter what sport and what team you like, glad to have you here. The Saints beat the Falcons 20-17, and the Falcons missed 3 field goals. Hey there, Austin, glad to have you here. Young Wei Koo for a while for the Falcons was very reliable, but he struggled in the last few weeks. He misses 3 field goals. He cost the Falcons 9 points. They lose by 3. They still had a shot late in the game. My day has been great, Austin. They got the ball. I guess that's Michin or Michin. Love from Hawaii. Glad you're tuned in from Hawaii. And Marcus, I do think the Falcons will make the playoffs. I have seen enough of Kirk Cousins to know what Kirk Cousins does. He does just enough to make the playoffs, and he gets there in the first round. He's out. So if the Falcons win the division, which I think they will, if they play in the first round, they'll lose in the first round. If they get a bye in the first round for some reason and play in the second round, they'll lose in that round. But they'll make the playoffs and they'll lose. That's what Kirk Cousins does. But they had the ball late in the game, and I got to give Kirk Cousins credit. He's actually played really good the last 4 or 5 games. And he wasn't bad today, but late in the game, the Falcons got the ball. They had one timeout left, and they actually got the ball just across midfield. I believe it was on the Saints 48. And then Kirk Cousins got hit and fumbled, and the ball rolled all the way back to the 31. And one of the linemen, I believe Matthews, fell on it. So it's now 2nd and long. They have to call timeout there if they call their last timeout. On 2nd and long, Kirk Cousins throws about a 5-yard pass. Makes it 3rd and I believe 25. On 3rd and 25, they picked up 20 yards to make it 4th and 5. But then there's 17 seconds, I believe, left to go in the game. The Falcons have no timeouts, and Kirk Cousins is standing there just looking around, calling a play. I don't know if he had a brain fart or if he thought the Falcons were going to say, throw it deep, and look to the sidelines and found out they didn't say that. But finally, with about 7 seconds to go, he snaps the ball and then throws it at the line of scrimmage. And Ray McCloud had to run out of bounds. He made it out of bounds as soon as the clock expired, but the ball was thrown at the line of scrimmage. So, out of bounds or not doesn't matter. You need 5 yards. So, Kirk Cousins played good up until that last drive, and that last drive, he just had a bad brain fart. And Marcus, I think Kirk Cousins is their quarterback for at least 2 years. And Kirk Cousins ain't bad. He wins. He just does just enough to go to the playoffs, and that's it. But I don't think Michael Penix is quite ready yet. The Steelers beat the Commanders 28-27. The Eagles all over the Cowboys. The Cowboys are just, I mean, they're a joke. Dak Prescott was spotted last week saying, man, we suck. And he's right. They suck. And Austin, I cannot watch Raw tomorrow night. I'll be covering some high school basketball. So by the time I get home, Raw will be off the air. But the Eagles beat the Cowboys 34-6. The Chargers defeat the Titans 27-17. And the Cardinals beat the Jets 31-6. Remember, last year, Kyler Murray wanted to leave the Cardinals. Well, now they're in first place, so that coaching change has made a big difference for the Cardinals. So my guess would be Kyler Murray's probably pretty satisfied right now. On to some college football, because the AP poll, of course, came out because it's Sunday. And just like last week, you can now look at it and compare it to the college football playoff poll, which will come out Tuesday night. But Oregon is number 1, followed by Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana rounding out the top 5, Tennessee, BYU, Notre Dame, Alabama, and the Ole Miss Rebels round out the top 10. Georgia, Miami falls all the way down to 12. Boise State, SMU, Texas A&M, Army, Clemson, Colorado, Washington State, Kansas State, LSU, Louisville, South Carolina, Missouri, and Tulane rounds out the top 25. So, of course, there's some changes because Georgia lost and Miami lost, and BYU tried their best to lose. Utah got called for a defensive holding, which you hardly ever see late in the game, and BYU got another chance. They ended up scoring on the drive and winning the game by 1 point in a game that those two teams call the Holy War. So BYU remains undefeated. They're up to number 7. We'll have to wait and see if the Georgia-Tennessee game lives up to the billing, because if you recall, last weekend, the game of the weekend was the Big Ten game between Ohio State and Penn State, and it came down to the wire, so it lived up to the hype and the billing. Yesterday, we had 2 games that were the biggest games of the day. One was Georgia Ole Miss. The other was Alabama, LSU. And neither game was worth a darn. Both games were ugly because both games were blowouts. So let's hope that the game of the weekend, this weekend, which will be Tennessee and Georgia, in the eyes of most people, will live up to the billing and be a good football game. I think it will because Tennessee has a great defense, but they have been notoriously slow starters on offense all year long. So I think they'll allow Georgia to stick around in the first half, even though Tennessee's a slow starter. Georgia's offense just isn't really clicking right now. So I think it'll be a close game. Let's hope it's the Ohio State Penn State close game, not the supposed close game between Alabama LSU or Georgia Ole Miss, which ended up not being close games. And no, Pink, I do not speak Japanese. And you like Chick-fil-A, and I like Chick-fil-A too. I think it's overrated, but I do enjoy it. And if you ever want to know what I mean by overrated, feel free to message me and I'll explain it sometime. I do like Chick-fil-A, but I think it is overrated. That's just my personal opinion. And of course, Tuesday night we'll get the new week number 2 college football playoff poll. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. This is going to be about Halloween candy since we just had Halloween. There are mounds of candy puns. I snicker when I see them. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.